Deadpool 2, you got it. Oh, and hey look, Turbo Nerdo's left a script for this. Thanks, Turbo, it really helps. When I receive scripts, I don't use them word for word, but they do influence the writing process of my videos. Disclaimer, this series revolves around criticizing things, and the fact that I'm doing that doesn't necessarily mean I dislike the thing. Thank you. Click below to watch the original Sins video, or to buy Deadpool 2.
Hang on, this is ultimately a pretty shitty apartment, right? But there's a 6-burner stove? That's like chef quality.
I mean, I actually thought that apartment was quite cool, but okay.
Also, if he's trying to get a bunch of gas in here, why didn't DP turn on the last burner on the end?
There are 7 knobs here, so that one's probably for the stove.
Wolverine.
Sitting Deadpool for narration is like sitting chocolate chip cookies because they contain chocolate chips, but I actually prefer chocolate chipless chocolate chip cookies. And we've got a job to do here, so narration.
If you're that adamant that narration is a sin regardless of context, I mean, I guess I should sin you for it, right? Fuck, and myself for it. Sins 3, here we come, I guess.
What kind of plan was this?
An effective one.
And how long was he waiting in there?
That's irrelevant.
Is this really more effective than, say, jumping out from behind a tree?
Judging by the fact that there are no trees that close to the funeral party, I'd go ahead and say yes it is. Also, even if it wasn't, this is Deadpool we're talking about. If he thinks to himself, you know what, I want to do this by jumping out of the coffin, he's gonna do it by jumping out of the coffin.
Let's see Captain America do that.
Dude, there are some great f***ing shoutouts to other superheroes in multiple universes, but doesn't this one feel forced? Like, other than spraying the funeral with bullets, couldn't Cap do all the shit Deadpool's doing here?
What? Why would you exclude spraying the funeral party with bullets? That's why he's there. That's the thing he's there to do. I mean, I suppose technically you're right. If you ignore literally the main thing he's doing, and also the thing he's clearly referring to, by the way, then yeah, there's nothing he's doing there that Cap wouldn't also do.
Dozens of severed arms, legs, and heads, but yes, please blur this man's giggle stick, because who will think of the children?
You know what? Part of me wants to say that that's what the movie was going for here, but I think if it was, it should have been more explicit about it. So, I'll give you one off for this.
Remember when I kidnapped Bandhu and threatened him with great violence?
Deadpool 2 expects us to remember the Dopinder F story from the last movie. Look, I've seen the first Deadpool dozens of times, and even I forgot that shit happened.
Yeah, that was a really difficult thing to remember. It would have been good if the movie did something like, I don't know, had a scene where one of the characters said something like, hey, remember this thing that happened? Just in case you don't remember, let me tell you exactly what happened, so you can remember. It sure would have been good if the movie had a scene like that in it so that we could remember this obscure moment from the first film.
Diarrhea? All signs point to yes.
Man, Deadpool movies have as many poop jokes as a goddamn Shrek movie, and I'm sinning that crap. Number 1, it totally taints this franchise and is a stain on the logorrheic nature of the dialogue. And number 2, it wipes clean any of the goodwill from the more intelligent humor it might want to dump on us later.
See, I have no idea if that wordplay in there was intentional, but just in case it was, here's a sin-off for good, subtle wordplay. For anyone who's like, hang on, wait, what wordplay? Which, I'm sure there must be a few of you, because this is like my 5th viewing, and I'm just noticing this now. The sin is about poop jokes, and
I'm sinning that crap. Number 1, it totally taints this franchise and is a stain on the logorrheic nature of the dialogue. And number 2, it wipes clean any of the goodwill from the more intelligent humor it might want to dump on us later.
ha, those were all poo words.
Do we have to do these credits with all the in-jokes again? Isn't the Bond parody and the genuinely good Celine Dion song enough? That's like saying narration or roll credits or f***ing logos, man, in every video.
Self-awareness? What's happening? Although I do have to break it to you that this is nothing like saying roll credits, logos, or narration in every video. I mean, first of all, this is only the second Deadpool film, so it would be like doing it twice. And secondly, this is a distinctly different joke. It just uses the same format as the joke in the first one. What would be like saying narration, roll credits, or logos in every video would be if there were hundreds of Deadpool movies and all of them opened with literally the exact same joke that was in the first one.
You smell like sauerkraut left in the warm rain.
This goes on for some time, and gets progressively less funny, just trust me.
Jeremy inadvertently describes his own web series.
Are you pissing? Are you urinating right now? You're making the face that you make when you urinate.
Hi, lowest common denominator? I'd like to place an order for one piss joke for Deadpool 2.
Please hold.
Sure, I'll hold. They're tied up in a complicated deal with the Despicable Me franchise.
What's going on? That was another high-effort joke. What the fuck is going on, and why am I taking off so many sins? If all your future videos are going to be like this, then disregard my previous comment about this series getting less funny as time goes on.
I thought you saw me with your ears.
Man, it's hard to overstate how shitty these movies would be if anyone other than Ryan Reynolds was playing this character. I'm conflicted on whether this qualifies as a sin. F it.
I hate to break it to you, but the only world where, if this movie was different it would be bad, is a sin, is the world inside your own head.
This movie rips off Groundhog Day even worse than Happy Death Day.
This unsuccessful suicide attempt, fuck it, that's the take I'm using, deal with it.
Also, until he gets to the gasoline trick in the apartment, how the would Wade expect any of this crap to kill him? He's clearly survived much worse, so this is really just for the audience.
Do you really think he does expect any of this to kill him? I know I literally just described it as an unsuccessful suicide attempt. Well, no, I described it as an unsuccessful, but, you know, I think people got the message. It felt to me much more like someone doing increasingly dangerous shit, not caring if it kills them. Kind of like this scene from BoJack Horseman, just skip past if you don't want spoilers, where BoJack starts speeding, takes his hands off the wheel and closes his eyes in the open road. It's not like he expects to die from it, but on the other hand... Okay, that wasn't really a spoiler, but still.
Hey, it looks like Wade made it to the Upside Down.
God damn it, I really thought you'd turned over a new leaf this video, but here you are just comparing things again.
Yes, there's something here. I can't get to you.
Are we really supposed to buy into this emotion? You can't spend 3 minutes asking me to take you seriously, and the rest of the time making dick and fart jokes while breaking every fourth wall in sight, he says, self-referentially.
Humor and drama are not mutually exclusive concepts. A scene can be both funny and emotional, or funny and dramatic, or whatever. Take for instance the last couple of jokes you sent. The joke where Wade pisses himself is a joke, but it also serves a dramatic purpose to show how Wade has been affected by Vanessa's death. The same is also true of the scene where Deadpool chugs bleach and jumps off a building. And if that isn't enough for you, right after that I referenced BoJack Horseman. That entire show is basically just jokes with dramatic weight to them. Also, I don't understand how this is at all self-referential. When do you ever ask to be taken seriously? Unless this actually is an admission that some of your sins are supposed to be taken seriously. In which case, ha! In your face, everyone who tells me they're not, without even considering that maybe mine aren't either.
Is there the same fight between humans and mutants in this universe as there is in the X-Men universe? Seems like Deadpool and the other mutants are able to operate with impunity, with no resistance from humans. But here, they drop us into a mutant conversion facility with barely a mention of the underlying politics.
So in this movie, the Mutant Conversion Center is clearly an allegory for gay conversion centers. In fact, later on, the movie explicitly compares the two, which you sin for being too on the nose. So if we do compare this to its real-life counterpart, gay conversion therapy, then this does kind of make sense. Because there are gay conversion centers in real life, while there are also places in real life where gay people can, as you put it, operate with impunity. Basically what I'm saying is that homophobia does vary greatly with where you are.
Something wrong with the soap.
It's fine. I just filled it.
So this implies Wade literally jerked off into the soap dispenser, right? Is that the joke? And why would Colossus even use soap and water anyway? God, this movie definitely decided to go with quantity over quality for the jokes.
For anyone who likes to tell me that I shouldn't take CinemaSins too seriously or apply logic to them because it's all just jokes, here's Jeremy applying logic to a joke and taking it very seriously. And I'm not even going to add a sin for that, because I think it's fine. I'm just making a point. Jokes should have internal logical consistency, just like everything else does.
This kid needs to be in the icebox, not here.
Russell belongs in our care.
Wow, this feels like a video game cutscene, right? This 100% feels like the next thing that should happen is dialogue options appear on the screen for Deadpool, letting you decide which one of them he agrees with.
This is the perfect way for Deadpool to knock Russell out of the picture. And it's a beautiful shot. Holy that's awesome.
You know what? Okay.
This is like the least efficient prison ever made. Why are the cells so far apart? Why is there so much room? It's not like they need to mitigate any mutant powers. That's what the suddenly convenient collars are for.
Yes, I can just imagine the conversation that went into building this facility right now. Do we take any more precautions when holding these superpowered individuals captive? Nah, it's alright, you got the collars, what can go wrong? I mean, at least wouldn't it be worthwhile putting in multiple redundancies so that if one thing fails... Come on, man, do you not think you're being a little bit overdramatic here? Who needs multiple redundancies? What's the worst that could happen? We're just holding a bunch of superpowered criminals prisoner. It's not like it really matters that much.
I've got tumors to grow. Vanessa waits.
So is Wade planning on just dying or getting his heart right before he does? Because I thought that was the whole point of the sanctimonious house mom routine before this whole mission.
Wade is now deeply troubled and ready to die. He wanted to do something good before he passed on, but now he's in prison and really kind of can't do that anymore. Plus, for the first time in forever, he's been put in a situation where he actually might die. Him giving up here makes total sense.
Sure, it makes a nice symbolic touchstone for us, but how exactly did Deadpool manage to bring this sentimental token in with him?
I mean, it was 100% somewhere in him, right? There really shouldn't be any question here. In my mind, that's how Deadpool transports things, even if he's not going to prison.
Oh no, Wade has been injured. I totally care about this because he's never going to recover.
Yeah, the movie isn't asking you to care about Wade's physical well-being. It's asking you to care about his objectives. He's trying to save the life of a 14-year-old, something that he can't do if he's incapacitated.
How did Wade almost die again? He just hit his head on a rock and fell into a lake, which is really no worse than all the that Cable did to him back at the prison.
Are you serious? He got fully brained there. Just before falling into an ice lake. There is probably ice water in his brain right now.
Unlucky.
That's not a superpower.
Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't.
Wade's dismissal of this becomes a running joke, but is it that crazy of a notion, especially compared to all the other shit they're seeing today?
Wade is just joking around here. The joke is a joke that Wade is making, not one that the movie is making. Well, no, technically the movie is making that joke, but you know what I mean.
Maybe the comic leaves you more machine than man.
Sure, Cable's over dramatic, but no one in the movie is going to point out the obvious Star Wars ripoff. They call Colossus on that RoboCop.
First of all, calling this a Star Wars ripoff is silly. Yeah, the movies have some similar words in them. And funnily enough, those words just happen to be the exact ones that perfectly describe the situation the characters are in. Crazy! Secondly, there are no self-aware characters to point this out anyway. TJ Miller is here, but he's scared for his life. He's not going to be saying that shit.
I'll admit it's mildly frustrating that Deadpool and Domino both have actual superpowers that completely short-circuit any attempt at they survive this. But since Cable and Russell were on there too, they survive this?
This scene is important for context in a second, so I'm including it now.
I'm gonna rip you in half now.
I never thought I'd prefer anything from X-Men The Last Stand, but at least their version of Juggernaut was much more believable than this. Like, why is this character even here?
If you wanted characters with believable superpowers, why are you watching a Deadpool film? Being silly and over the top is kind of the point.
Arms, get me out of here, please! Use my arms as backpack straps!
Help me understand how Deadpool experiences pain. We know he feels what happens to him, but then, does it immediately go away? I mean, he's sitting, propped up here, completely split in two. Wouldn't that still at least sting a little bit?
I mean, you know what? At a guess, I would say that probably that does sting at least a little bit. You know, it looks like the kind of thing that would sting. But Deadpool has been dismembered like this so many times that do you really think he would still be showing signs of pain?
So everyone left Cable there and walked off, but they know he's trying to kill Russell? God damn, this movie resets itself constantly, with very little logical reason.
So just to be clear, you sinning Cable for surviving that is fine. The assumption being that he should have died. But when the characters in the movie make the assumption that Cable should have died, that's crossing a line.
I got 2 charges, one to get me here, one to get me home.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
Is it? Because it's sure as hell better than using the device for a million different moments.
Yes, it is. It's an excuse to not have to make the plot more complicated than it needs to be.
I really wanted to match, you know? I'll be a menacing team.
This scene means absolutely nothing, and is exactly the reason extended editions suck. There, I said it. Throwing more nonsense in just because you can doesn't make anything better, he said, self-referentially.
Holy shit, he's sinning himself from the inside. I don't know whether to take a sin off for the self-awareness or to add one for the fact that you're fully aware of the fact you're doing that and you do it anyway. I'll just do both. Fuck it.
It takes a while for Wade to grow his legs back. Then they have to go to the mansion on the way to the orphanage. So what took Russell and Juggernaut so long? Didn't they leave immediately from the crash scene to go kill the headmaster? Sure, they stopped at the big and tall place, but how long would that take? Did this movie even bother with a timeline? Pseudo-clever quips only cover up so much. Trust me, I know.
How? How are you this self-aware all of a sudden? What's going on? I'm breaking. How can you be this aware of your flaws and then continue to do them? What was that sound? That should be the new sin counter. For the rest of the video it will be. Which should be fun, because just like the last piece of self-awareness, I'm going to add a sin for it and take one off. So you're going to get to hear that in reverse.
Big CGI fight coming up!
Sure, but just because you call attention to it doesn't excuse that.
Jesus, are you being self-aware about your self-awareness now? Fuck it. Well done, honestly.
That's how we do it in Mother Russia.
Really? You take down supervillains by shoving a live wire up their ass and use a force blast to propel them into water? Man, I knew Putin was bad, but this is a whole new level.
You didn't know about that? Have you never been to Russia? That's how they greet you when you get off the plane. Putin administers it personally.
Well, come here.
I appreciate the effort to make this ending emotional, but given that this will all be undone in this overtly insubordinate movie, I can't get on board. It's like trying to trick yourself into having an actual orgasm when you're f***ing your cousin.
Interesting analogy, but not quite. This still has emotional weight to it because Wade isn't getting this. He knows that Vanessa's waiting for him when he does die, but he can't die yet. It may be a fake-out death, but it does still have emotional weight. Or should I say emotional Wade? I shouldn't. That's terrible. I'm gonna cut this out. I'm not. So the sin total is 26. And the punishment will be the Russian-administered cable in your bum. Oh, cable in your bum. That has 2 meanings when talking about this movie. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you on Wednesday for a video, hopefully on Predator. Sorry for the late upload today. It definitely doesn't have anything to do with Doctor Who being out. I promise. It does.